It is so yummy.
It's like a Unibob. It's a Unibob.
I says, oh, that's so yummy. Like we would have this
Here's
discussion.
brand Underbob.
I think I have killed Kathleen.
No, I wanted to make sure I heard you right, because that's what I thought you said, that it's so yummy. I just was like, okay, that's not quite how I would have described it, but that's good.
That's World 1-1 beard brand Underbob right there.
Oh, you preach, Larry. You preach.
There's pre-roll right there. We found it. So glad I left the recording on.
Yes, I see that.
Oh.
Hot diggity damn, motherfuckers. We're back with another episode of World 101 Podcast, the best podcast that nobody listens to. As always, before we get into the good stuff, you can and should find us and subject all of your friends to us at our home at world11.podbean.com, all spelled out, all one word. Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, like the Facebook page, follow the Twitter, live on Twitch. Yeah, that's all of them.
I love the hand gestures.
That Eddie, you fucked it up, but that's a perfect description. They are hand gestures.
I should have stayed in bed tonight.
Well, apparently the others all knew better because they didn't fucking.
I know. I was really. I honestly was about 2 hours ago. I was like, I really don't want to get into this. What we're going to talk about tonight. I really was like, I'm going to back out. I'm glad I didn't. Damn. Everybody else did.
Right. I don't know. Maybe it'll turn up by the time we hit the break. Who knows?
Hopefully they're
Fuck,
okay.
I may actually call Josh on the break just to see what the hell happened, unless maybe he's just passed out somewhere,
Probably
enjoying his Floridian stockpile of beer. So, I thought of him earlier today, too, actually, as a matter of fact. I saw something that says, you want to know what it's like to live in Florida? Take a nice, long, hot shower on a summer day, get out and just put your clothes on without drying off.
In all fairness, he said where he's at, it's not that bad.
Well, relative scale, too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You know, I live with chronic pain, so when I go to the ER and they say, what's your pain scale? I'm like, do you want real talk or do you want adjusted for inflation? That's two different things. We got to know which page we're on, kids. So, whatever. Anyways, as always,
choose your fighter.
I am your host, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me tonight is Kathy, Lord of the Stream.
Hey, everybody.
And on that side of my screen, I don't know about any of the rest of you, but it's that side of... Well, I'm right regardless, because I said specifically it's that side of my screen.
And you're right on the Twitch thing, so... I know, shut up! I'm just...
Can I send glitter bombs through the internet?
Oh, I don't mind glitter. I don't mind it. Bomb my house with glitter. I got tons of glitter in here.
Ugh. Eddie Blackman V.
I love eating some good taco salad. Hey, hi, everybody.
Taco salad is just tacos that you were too lazy to fucking assemble.
That is true. Well, that is true. That is true. Also, in case if you don't have the actual taco shells or the soft tacos, we didn't have no Doritos neither. So
Oh, Doritos with taco salad. Oh, that brings back memories from high school.
yeah,
Taco
Yeah, but
salad
at that
days.
point, you just get the Doritos Loco shells, and again, you're back to it's just a taco you were too lazy to assemble.
well, yeah.
Shut up, Larry.
You know what? I do want to try it with the Doritos Flamin' Hots, the new ones.
Oh yeah, those would probably be
Those
really
are
good.
those are so good. They still taste like Doritos, but with the Flamin' Hot
There.
powder.
Oh, hell. So, let's get into the good stuff before we get into the heavy stuff. And fair warning, before anybody gets real far with this, this evening's topic of conversation it's a weird combination news desk deep dive. I don't know. It probably goes under the heading of news desk.
It's a news desk deep dive.
Yeah, we attached a diving board to the front of the news desk and just jumped off it and hit the floor. So, but in any case, fair warning, we're getting into heavy subject matter that borders on to political inclinations, discussion, all kinds of fun shit. So if that's not your thing or it's not what you're on board for, stop at the break. Because if you keep going, you're going to be real unhappy no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Because we are kind of all over the fucking place.
Can I stop at the break?
I
No.
will say this. I will say this is that I think it's going to be very educational listening to it because
it
if
is.
you hear, I think if you hear one side, it's good to hear both sides, and regardless of which way you go about, it's going to be educational too. Just learn about it.
It's going to be a good segment, I think. Yes.
So,
So.
but in any case,
Oh my gosh!
Video games.
Eddie, what in the flying fuck nuts have you played?
Okay, so Switch, I did Final Fantasy 9, and then I just picked up Fire Emblem 3 Houses, but I haven't started it yet. Really haven't did nothing with Xbox. I just finished Saints Row the Third on it just for fun. Had a good time with that. But this game that I'm playing on PlayStation 4 kind of goes on topic with what we're going to be discussing about. And I've been getting to Wolfenstein 2. The new Colossus. This game is on Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and I think PC also is on. This one is by Bethesda Machine Gun Games, and of course, everybody know what. Or if you don't know what Wolfenstein is, it's you going against a whole bunch of Nazis. It's like their American take on the Nazis in I think 1969 or something. And
alternate history.
Alternate history, yeah. And they have their sequel, Young Bloods, but I haven't got that game yet. But I really am enjoying it. I had a difficult time playing this game when it first came out. And I think it was because of the way how the shooting was. The shooting didn't feel right. And there really is no map in this game. So you literally ended up just running around like trying to figure out where to go next. The map is definitely on PlayStation. It's just like if you hit the bar button that's in the middle of the control pad, like this touch button, it'll bring up the map, but it pauses the game. There's just literally no kind of map or actual direction to tell you where you need to go. But I got this game 2 years ago. I actually got it when it came out because I owned the first one. And I tried it and just like I'm not feeling it. And then just to talk about Youngbloods, I'm just like, you know what? Let me finish Wolfenstein 2 and get ready to play this game. And I've been enjoying it. Kind of playing this game 2 years later, just shooting the Nazis, hitting them with the axe. Great, kind of some good storytelling, kind of like the cinematics in it. Just really been having a fun time with it. I think I'm 2/3 done with the game. I'm at the point where I gotta kill a certain historic figure. So I'll be making my way through that and then getting closer to the end of the game. But I've been enjoying it, and it's kind of and the reason why I said that it's kind of weird playing this game, it's kind of bloody, kind of violent and stuff. It goes into the top what we're going to be talking about and kind of some political things that dealt with that gang when it got talked about, announced, kind of related to what it is now, and the political viewpoint of things. So pretty much that's what I've just been playing. I'm pretty much there are some games that are coming up, like the Grandia HD collection got announced. That's coming out next week, and I got to pick that up. But pretty much that's all. That's pretty much what I've been focusing on is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Really enjoying that game. Really am enjoying it.
All right. So Eddie, a question.
Yes.
New Colossus. Is it better than old Colossus from X-Men?
No, it's not.
Okay, good. Because old Colossus from X-Men is awesome.
Yes. Now, Shadow of the Colossus, that's a different thing.
I don't know. I think I'd still give it to old Colossus.
Oh yeah.
I'd take old Colossus over Shadow of the Colossus. Though to be fair, I think old Colossus casts a pretty big Shadow of the Colossus.
I have the remake of Shadow of the Colossus sitting on my PlayStation 4, and I need to start it. I can't wait.
All right, and Kathy, for the love of swimming sex snakes, what have you been playing?
Wow, that threw me there for a minute.
Exactly. Women sex snakes?
Why
I'm like,
See, now I'm going to be thinking about this. Larry, I hate you.
you know, but that's a good tongue twister. I would think
That
too.
is. I couldn't say it. That's why I had to think about it. And now I'm going to be thinking, like, how would that work? Why do you do this to me?
That's right up there with the horizontal butt crack.
You know what? I still think about that every so often. How would that be? That did make my 4th of July much better. I will admit that. Okay, no, seriously. I haven't really been playing much console-wise. Just 2 games. Fortnite, obviously, because Season 10 started last Thursday. They have changed everything up. I'm still trying to figure out how everything works. They are bringing back some things from past seasons, like the big meteor that came in through Season 3. Dusty Divot is no longer a divot. It's back to its old Dusty Depot that it was in the beginning. Tilted Towers is now Tilted Town. Now, they did something kind of unique, which makes the map a little bit more interesting. If you land in Tilted, which has always been a hot drop, this time it's set up as an Old West theme. They've got a border around it you can kind of see, and when you cross into that border, you actually lose the ability to build and break objects. So, Dylan's always been, and that's why I wish Dylan was here tonight. He's always complaining about Fortnite and the building mechanic. Well, if you go into this area, that building mechanic is gone, and you can only shoot weapons and stuff. So that adds a little bit of, makes me freaking mad, because I suck at the game no matter what. But yeah, they're bringing back they're bringing back old stuff for Season 10. And it's the same game, nothing else new, but they've changed it up again to keep it fresh, at least for those who keep playing. But yeah, I think it's starting to lose its draw.
Luster.
I think they're having a hard time keeping up the freshness of it, and it gets fresh for like the new season's fine, but then but once you get through that initial, kind of like, even with the weekly challenges coming out,
You're starting to get the repetition feels.
Yeah, I am. I still like playing it though, because for me, I like completing the challenges. But once the challenges are done, I'll only play it if other people are on, so we can laugh about how stupid we are.
You have to find your own fun.
Yes. They did reset the arena points, so we're starting over again for the competition season, which is, again, kind of adds a little better to it. But I also purchased the actual Fortnite game, Save the World, the Save the World mode, the one that they created. Yeah. Oh god, I gotta give it a little bit more chance. After playing Battle Royale, I don't like this mode, but it's definitely an interesting take. You learn more about the whole the Fortnite universe, and you learn about what caused the storm and how everything's going on. But basically, you're set up with missions. You have to create your weapons. You can create your ammo. You have these tasks to complete, like find something, then defend it. So it's got some of that aspect of strategy plus the fighting, and you're basically fighting zombie hordes, peoples. I don't know how to describe it, but I wouldn't have paid $40 for it. They had it on sale during their birthday celebration. It was only $20. I'm glad I only spent $20 on it. It's not bad. It's just after having played the Battle Royale and you're used to that, the fast pace, the trying to find people and getting into those battles. This is a little slowed down. It's a little bit more methodical. You have to plan your buildings. You have to plan your You get a chance to plan your placement of traps. So it's definitely a different play style. I recommend. Yeah, it's different.
It's funny, the physical copy of the original version, you can't really find it anymore. When it came out, nobody brought it.
No.
And then it just it had that Nintendo effect that nobody brought it, but somehow one person touched it and then it disappeared. And this is even before it may have been around the time the Battle Royale part came out, but it was just like, who is buying this game? Like, it came out and nobody brought it, like the physical copy. Now it's like, I think it's like $500 plus some dollars that people want the physical. Like, yeesh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's just it's a strategy game with shooting. That's all. I mean, the Battle Royale is what really propelled it, but there isn't anything special to it.
Yeah.
If you play it. So, but yeah, that's Fortnite. I've been playing Hollow Knight. Trying to do a full completion this time, trying to find everything, and just been grinding through that. Nothing special.
I will give you a heads up.
Yes.
If you are looking to get everything.
You can't get everything, I know that.
Well, I was going to say more specifically, there's some stuff in one of the DLC packs that is super grindy to get to because it's a shit ton of coin.
Okay.
Because did you ever find the fragile charms?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Those are transformable.
Oh, okay.
By way of the Grim Troop DLC into something that doesn't break.
Oh, okay. See, I never knew that.
It doesn't matter which order you do them in, but the first one that you give them to transform into an unbreakable version is the least expensive, and then it gets more expensive. And the last one, the third fragile to solid, is insanely expensive. So bank your coinage whenever humanly possible. It is just absurd. Like, I've still got a save going on my Switch that I haven't touched in a while to just finish grinding out the coin to get the last one. God damn it. Now, to that end, my word of advice, do the fragile, I think it's fragile greed first.
Okay.
Because then you can equip the unbreakable greed to help you bank in more coin as you're trying to grind it out.
Okay. Thank you.
So
yeah, I just have been trying to take my time. I'm currently back in the Hive, and I'm trying to fight the
I love the Hive. It's so pretty.
The Hive. Oh God, the boss in there. The
the Great Big Bee.
Not the Great Big Bee. The Knight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think I was just getting tired.
One of the dream ones?
No. It wasn't a dream one. He's just a knight, and that battle always gets me because he sends out little hordes of bees and everything.
Oh yeah, I remember. That's right. Okay.
And then he sends out the things that shoot needles, and I'm always jumping into them because I'm panicking, and it happens when I get tired. But no, I've woken up 2 of the sleepers. So I went through Deepness, and there's a lot of stuff I still need to find, but I'm just taking my time and trying to just get through everything. But that's really it console-wise that I've been playing. And then a lot of Dr. Mario World. Yeah. I'm up to level 199.
I haven't even.
Oh, nice.
It's addicting for me because it is very reminiscent of the Dr. Mario that I grew up with. It's just everything's in reverse, and you have the limited number of capsules, so you really have to plan your moves to either eliminate all the viruses or find all the coins, depending on what stage you're playing. I also like the versus mode, although it can be real frustrating when your opponent is kicking your ass. But yeah, it's a good time waster.
Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, that's really it.
So, I've been playing... Let's see. I played Troubleshooting and Tech Support with Kathy IRL.
Wow.
That's the limited edition. That costs extra.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it.
So, which reminds me, depending on how much gump I have left, I may actually, because I had plans to try and do it today earlier, and my day just got away from me. Other things cropped up. I was dealing with the refrigerator issue today, which reminds me I've got to get a hold of Dylan and see where the final resolve is at on that. But for the moment, we currently replaced the Lazarus refrigerator with what was baby fridge do baby fridge do.
Wow.
So we've got like a half fridge upstairs just to kind of get by for the moment. And that was the first thing that popped in my head when I saw it. I was like, baby fridge do. But it's like, you know what? It functions. Fuck it. I don't even care. Anyways, so if you stick around, if I am still reasonably conscious and functionable, I am probably going to be doing just a cheapo run of Dead Cells, just to test and make sure everything's finally working the way it should. It should be working. I just kind of want to make sure it runs, you know? Other than that, I've been playing some window shopping because I've been peeping some advertisements in what, like, micro bits of spare time that I've had this week for some indie stuff that looks really cool. There was one that Todd Oxtra posted that looked really fucking cool. I'm blanking on the name of it. It's like
Valvirus or something like that.
Yeah, so now I gotta look it up.
That
one. That thing looked fucking awesome.
Yes,
but didn't it?
But everybody's late about that because that was one of the games they showed at the PC gaming show at E3.
Was it?
Yeah, but I think everybody was. But I think everybody was so focused on Nintendo and Microsoft that they
announced that game. They announced that game for PC and for Xbox One and Switch and PS4 when they showed it at the gaming show.
Yeah, but
it looks
cool as shit. There was another one that looked like super neon-y, spacey, really fun.
I was gonna ask Larry, how did you describe that one? The one we were just talking about?
Hang on.
It's a rock Contra game.
Oh no! He had a better way of saying it in his comment.
Let me look it up here. I know what you're talking about.
Sorry. It was like.
Let me find Todd's post real quick, and I'll shoot you my comment. But while I'm skimming here, there was another one that looked really cool, and I'm blanking on the name too, because I'm like, I'll remember that name. That's fucking. And now I'm trying to pull it from my brain, and it's not there anymore.
Is it PC or?
No, it's coming to everything, I think. But it looked really fucking cool. It's platformer shooter, but what looked really neat was that I'm assuming it's a triggerable function where, like, whatever platform you're on, it's not like attached to the walls or anything else.
Yeah.
the whole rest of everything fucking rotates around that platform and rearranges. So like a corridor that might have gone left to right across the screen is now going up down.
Oh, I've never seen this.
No, I don't
Yeah, I gotta fucking find it and dig it up for you. But it looks cool. It looks really pretty too.
When did it get announced?
I don't recall off the top. I would be lying if I said I remembered. But I
Okay.
saw the preview for it just
A couple of days ago.
either earlier today or last night somewhere. But yeah, no,
there's
it
gotta
looks
be-
the fucking hotness.
There's got to be a lot of indie games that people are talking about that we just don't know.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's so much of it.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
Val Ferris was
just-
the one that.
but it's just
Yeah, and Kathy, your comment, the comment that you were thinking of, shout out because it is thoroughly inspired by Adele. The preview for this Val Ferris looks awesome. The comment Kathy was referring to, Eddie said, I posted. He said it has ridiculous high intensity big dick energy. I'm in.
wow.
So
Yeah, when me and one of my friends, we was watching the PC Gamer Show, we seen it, and we was just like, "Oh, we have got to have this game."
right,
Like,
it looks fucking hot.
good. Yes, and it's weird because it feels like it's a mixture of Contra, Super Turrican, and Metroid. There's some Super Metroid in this. I'm just like, is this world connected or is it level based? And if it's like,
That's kind of what I was trying to figure out when I was watching it. You definitely get some of that vibe from like some of the boss fights, especially.
yeah, and that's why
Like it might not be Metroidvania, but you can at least smell it on the boss fight.
Oh yeah. So I that got a lot of attention. A lot of people are really hyped for the game, but I don't know if it got an actual release date yet.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, because I think it got announced for PlayStation 4. Because I don't think it was I know it got announced for Xbox One and Switch and PC. But I don't know if PS4 was on there. I had to go take a look back at it. That's
Fuck now, I can't remember the name of this like flippy spinny thing game. It. I know it's coming up shortly. I remember that. I'm like, oh, that's like right around the corner.
I wonder if it's on the coming soon page of Switch.
Yeah, I'm inclined to look actually, but it looks fucking super cool, and it almost looks. If I'm thinking of what I think I'm thinking of, some of like just the movement and the feel of it looks like it has maybe a light Mega Man feel.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But I mean, some of the visual kind of reminds me of like Geometry Wars in that whole, like super neon-y particle effect, spacey look to it.
Yeah.
Very like almost very 90s Lisa Frank.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know, let's look at their coming soon and see if this thing is here, because if it's here, we got to talk about it. Because people deserve to fucking know about it. I think that might be it. I'm feeling like this was it. Yeah. I think I found it. I'm almost positive. I just got to see half a second of it and be like, that's it. Show me again. Yeah, that's it. It's called Exception.
Exception.
Yeah, and it's coming on the 13th this month for $15.
So that's next Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, it's next week.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So this it
no,
looks
next Thursday,
like
Thursday.
hella good.
Oh, next Thursday. Okay.
Oh wait, you 13th you said?
13th.
Oh yeah, Tuesday. Sorry.
Right,
Never mind.
'cause-
Shit.
Yeah, because Grandia HD drops Friday on the 16th. Dang.
I
So-
thought he said 15th. That was.
Now that I know what the fuck it's called, I will send you guys a
video.
link.
Can I say that like August is becoming unexpected of like some top tier games that like we already gonna be wrecked from September for just a lot of stuff. But I'm like, is August like unexpectedly matching September? Like this is insane.
I don't know, but I will say too,
To
that's
get people
another.
ready for
Well,
college.
that's another thing too, is that if you
True.
think about it, the last couple of years, remember, in like the pinnacle of say PS1, 64, GameCube, PS2, Xbox era, that
Mhm.
summertime just fucking sucked
Mhm.
because nothing came out. Since the mass explosion of indie, that shit seems to have stopped, and I could not be less unhappy about that fact. It's just, it thrills me to death. So
Well, yeah, it's just because mostly summertime is when everybody is getting like they're working on their backlog and stuff. But now people are seeing indie as kind of equal to AAA first and third party games. So it's just like definitely I can't say with the Switch now being out, people want that physical version of it. And if it's coming out in the summer, people are going to go out and get it. But yeah, like I think indie games have kind of moved where it's just like if you're going to be a gamer in this kind of industry, you're going to own an indie game. You're going to have an indie game. It may not be the best thing in the world, but I'm like, if it satisfies your need for a great amount, and you keep coming back to it, and you're making it like game of the year, and you're kind of like thoroughly enjoying it, then it kind of served its purpose.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, I'm rewatching this trailer on Exception, and it just there's more to this like flippy mechanic thing than stuck in my head, which makes me even happier. It looks really fucking sharp. I'm better feeling now. Mix some Mega Man with some Tron.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it looks like not uber fast paced, but definitely quick. So, but no, it looks hella good. That is officially on my fucking radar. So I mean, I've been doing some window shopping on some stuff coming up. Getting ready for paydays tomorrow, so that way I can drop in an order for Time Spinner from LRG.
Is that live?
Yeah, dude, we're coming up on the end of that stretch. That went up on the 2nd.
How much? Is it 30 or 40?
I think it's like 30. It's just a standard edition. They weren't doing a special edition for it.
Oh, then I could pass.
No, I'm not passing on that one because otherwise I'm going to end up... I specifically waited on Time Spinner.
Yeah.
My gut told me this is going to... I just didn't expect it to hit LRG that fast from when it hit Switch.
I wonder if they were rated for the Switch version.
They might have been too.
Yeah, because I'm like, this game been out on, I think, PS4 and PC for a while.
Yeah, it has.
But I don't think it did well on those systems because, like, it came out and they never had a sale on it, like a flash sale or anything. They never did any of that. And it came out and it went. Like, didn't nobody talk about it or really stream it that much. And I guess now that it's on Switch, I'm assuming there's a lot of copies still.
Yeah, it's open pre-order up until a date, so they're letting everybody order as many as you fucking want, and then at the cutoff date, it's like, okay, we've got orders for this. Now we know how many we have to order to manufacture. Not the other way around, saying we've only got this many. Good luck. Okay. So, because this isn't like the Celeste thing where it's limited to 2,000 copies worldwide. Which, hey, by the way, LRG. 8 months still waiting on Celeste to ship. Just saying.
Which is funny because, like, I wonder why it's not why it's not at Best Buy neither.
What, Celeste?
Yeah.
They haven't shipped it yet.
I mean, but are they going to be, when they ship it out, are they going to be shipping it to, like, also Best Buy? I don't know if that predates their deal with Best Buy or not. Yeah, because I wonder how those that deal of games happen because like my local Best Buy, like there's some limited run games that's there and nobody touched them. I'm like, I should snag this up.
Right. So, but I mean, it's always a crapshoot with it too because they'll tell you ahead of time. It's like Best Buy's talking about buying a small stock of these, but it's not guaranteed. So it's like this is order here now is the only way to guarantee because Best Buy could back out of the deal on it at any time if they wanted to, and not put it in order for whatever. But yeah, I mean, I know why my copy of Celeste is held up. The same reason as everybody's. I'm just grumpy that it's taken this long.
I wonder the DLC.
It is. They're waiting for the DLC to, which it's like cool. We've got this farewell DLC thing, and then it's out, and we can ship. And before that comes out, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do one more after that. Go ahead and keep waiting." I'm like, "God damn it, just fucking stamp it, ship it."
You won't get it to next year. I think you probably won't get it to next year.
That is gonna be the longest fucking turnaround time I've ever waited for anything from LRG. Like, holy shit, that's gotta be a fucking record for them.
That is true. I wonder how much Time Spinner is on Switch.
I think like 20.
Oh, okay. And the physical. Let's see. And when you say it's just a standard version, like there's nothing to it really. I understand. I paid the same thing.
Case and manual and cartridge.
Yeah.
They're just not doing a collector's edition.
I just thought there would be a little bit more, so that's why I was just like, you know what? I'll just probably buy it digitally on there. Like with our kind of class is different. Because I paid that same price for that standard version, but it was just like, well, I played this on PlayStation 4, and it's a real long game, and I enjoyed it. So when it came to Switch and Limited Run was doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely have to physical. If I'm making this game my game of the year, sure, of course I have to make it physical.
Right. So, and my buddy Michael's been playing some Time Spinner. He just went straight digital on it, and he's been enjoying it thoroughly. So, like I said, it's on my radar. I'm just waiting for payday tomorrow to ring it in. So that's all I'm waiting on, honestly. Also, by the way, for whatever godforsaken reason, if you didn't see, one of the upcomings for Limited Run is Bubsy Paws on Fire.
Oh.
Yeah, about that. But
Limited Run.
Turok 1 and Turok 2 are coming from Limited Run to Switch too.
I'm so iffy if I should play those games. I don't know. I think I'm gonna pass. I respect them for what they are, but I'm just like, I don't know. I just there's got to be something else from Limited Run that I want, and I think I gotta go on their website and see.
Yeah, I'm kind of browsing into the background, but yeah, I was specifically just looking at Time Spinner, but yeah, Time Spinner comes in at $34.99. But I mean, it's your cartridge, the double-sided
cover.
Yeah, and the full cover booklet.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's like I said, that's more than enough for me. Plus, in theory, I should get my trading card with it too, which the last couple orders I've gotten from Limited Run has been a pain in the ass to get the trading card from them because it didn't ship with it, and I had to keep hunting them down and going, all right, you said you sent it. It's been a week. It's not here. I don't think you sent it. You better send one. They're like, well, we sent it, but we're going to send you another one again. And this is, I'm like, well, look, that doesn't really help me if it doesn't fucking show up in my mailbox. So I like the trading cards from them. They're nice.
You pay for it. If you pay for it, you should get what you pay for.
Legit. So, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. I didn't mean for this to turn into a bitch fest about LRG, honestly. I like LRG. There are some things that got me a little grumpy.
And I think that's kind of how I miss Nicholas. Like, I want Nicholas to bring out some physical more games. Because I'm just like, you guys were on fire. And it feels like Limited Run. It feels like Limited Run took it, but you both were working well together. So I'm just like, man, come through. Because what if Nicholas announced? Like I said, if Nicholas announced that physical version of Ikaruga, I'm buying it. Like,
Oh, in a fucking heartbeat. Yep.
like I'm gonna spend that 40 good old bucks. Like, I love Treasure, but I'm just like, Ikaruga physical. I haven't had my physical copy. I don't know what happened to my GameCube version, but I'm
I
like,
got
man,
mine over here.
so jealous. But yeah, I'm like, I want that physical for Switch, even though I already own it digitally. I'm just like, I want this.
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 can have that too. You guys should get it for PlayStation 4 if you don't own the Switch.
But in any case, that's what I've been not playing this week, honestly. But like I said, I'm feeling, at the risk of jinxing it, I'm actually feeling pretty decent. There's a good chance I will be making a Switch-laden Dead Cells run on stream after we finish up recording tonight, just because it would help. It helps me unwind and decompress anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It might be one where, honestly, I may just like flip off the camera because I may be comfortable in bed, just making sure it works basically and getting to
He
play.
doesn't want me coming in and yelling at him.
I don't know. If I play Dead Cells, I'm playing Dead Cells. Like, Dead Cells is one that I'm just, yeah.
No, but not having the camera on is what I'm talking about, so that I don't yell at you to get off of the stream because you're falling asleep. I see how this is.
No, it's more a case of I want to play it on my TV while stretched out across my couch. And
I think that would be wonderful for people to see on camera.
yeah, but my camera's not aimed at the right spot.
So you can move the camera.
I don't want to.
I'm just saying, I see streamers do it all the time, laying in bed, just, lounging and playing their games.
You should.
I know, but when I lay in bed and lounge, I'm usually close to, if not like full nude. And so, I mean, clearly this is not going to be mixer friendly if I turn the camera. Ta-da!
Good. Y'all ready to go on break? Yeah, we will be right back.
But yeah, it's going to be strapless and everything. You might see some underbob.
Yeah, we will be right back. Let's go to break.
All right, Eddie's calling it break. And welcome back to the third half of the show. This is where we either deep dive or, like this week, we're going to make our way over to the news desk. So, we've talked about this on the show a few times, years past. It's cropped up again over the last week. And this is the first time I think that we've really talked about it with the new formation. Crew. Yeah. Actually a little bummed that Josh and Dylan specifically couldn't make it this evening, because I kind of wanted some of their way in too. Though, to be fair, it may have been a little redundant just because I know they kind of skew similar to Kathy and I. Actually, Dylan, I think, has a slightly different skew on it. But that's all right. If there's any indication, this may take a few weeks to burn out in the news cycle. It may fizzle and go away real fast again. Who knows? But I have some thoughts. As mentioned at the front of the show, if topics of politics, shootings, violence, guns, regulation, any of that, no matter which side of the aisle you're on or what your viewpoint is, upsets you, perturbs you, anything like that, this is probably the time where you should check out, because we're going there tonight. And if any of you have been listening for any length of time, you already know mine and Eddie's thoughts on the subject. Eddie tends to lean, just as a precursor, and we're going to get a little deeper on it, Eddie tends to lean a little more conventional gamer community political alignment on the subject. Kathy and I, not as much. Kathy and I kind of have our toes in two worlds at the same time. So there's.
Can you want me to just get into the story first before?
I rather give anybody any reasonable forewarning, and I would say we'll hear about it in the fucking comments. But again, this is the best podcast that nobody listens to, so you know this is your reminder. If you want to make your friend's life miserable, you will subject them to us so that they can be miserable with you. But so getting into it, over the past week there have been 2 shootings. If you stretch back further than just the past week, there's been 3 plus that have all come about. However, the doubleheader this past week has brought some old comments about again on blaming video games for mass shootings and gun violence and the old it's been a hot minute since somebody's traped out that scapegoat.
Well, let me get into the 2 stories. So the first one, the ESA refused Trump claims that video games are to blame for mass shootings. And this story comes from Game Informer. In the wake of 2 mass shootings this past weekend, President Donald Trump made comments once again, blaming video games for violent behavior. The Electronic Software Association, the organization that represents many game publishers and developers within the industry, has issued a statement refuting these claims. The ESA full statement follows. As we shared at the White House video game meeting in March 2018, numerous scientific studies have established that there is no causal connection between video games and violence. More than 165 million Americans enjoy video games, and billions of people play video games worldwide. Yet other societies where video games are played as avidly do not contend with the tragic levels of violence that occur in the U.S. Video games positively contribute to society, from new medical therapies and advancements, educational tools, business innovation, and more. Video games help players connect with family and friends, relieve stress, and have fun. We encourage parents who have concerns about age-appropriate video games content to visit parentaltools.org to learn more how to control what games are played in their homes. This isn't the first time President Trump's administration has blamed games for violence, nor the first time the ESA has fought against those arguments with data. And that was kind of like the first story. One of the representatives from another state got on Fox News and made this claim, blaming video games, and then Trump just jumped on that. And I guess, I don't know why he jumped on it. I'm assuming he just tried to do it to make himself look good.
Because it's a classic scapegoat and nobody's trudged it out in a while.
Right. So today, at the time of this recording, Walmart taking down violent video game demos displays. This one comes from gamesindustry.biz. It says Walmart employees are reportedly being instructed to remove signage, demos, and displays for entertainment products, including video games, that include violence or aggressive imagery in the wake of a shooting this weekend that occurred at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas. Waypoint Vice reports that a number of employees have taken to social media to share a notice given to them this week instructing them to remove any signing or displays that contain violent images or aggressive behavior. One example shared on Twitter specifically mentioned video games display consoles that show demo of running games, specifically PlayStation and Xbox shooters. They are also told to cancel events promoting combat or third-person shooter games, avoid showing violent movies or hunting season videos, and remove any product preference combat or third-person shooters. Walmart appears to be taking these actions following two recent shootings events in or near stores. The first shooting took place on July 30th at a Walmart in South Haven, Mississippi, where an employee killed two co-workers and then injured a police officer before being arrested. The second took place on August 3rd at El Paso, Texas Walmart, where a gunman killed 22 and wounded 24 before being taken into custody. The latter is believed to be the author of a manifesto published online ahead of the shooting that included racist diatribes, hate speech, hate speech or white supremacist beliefs. Though the retailer also sells firearms and has been called upon to remove guns from its store following the shootings, the company has said it will not change its policy. Following the El Paso shooting and another shooting in Dayton, Ohio over the weekend, President Donald Trump has suggested that gruesome, grisly video games may be at fault for the events despite no evidence suggesting a connection. Both the IGDA and the ESA have issued responses noting the lack of evidence linking video games to violence. So that kind of came out today. Even though I kind of repeated myself and said a lot, that's where kind of the discussion of video games and mass shootings is at this point.
All right, so Kathy, you want to weigh in on this one first?
Not particularly.
Okay. So I'll throw down here. This is a weird mixed bag for me personally because there are some things that track and some things that look like they track until you realize you're not getting the whole scope of you're getting information through a specific filter. Like they threw up the charts that revenue generated by video game per country, and then the gun violence, mass gun shootings or gun deaths tracking, and you've got like 10 major countries that have just huge industrious revenues from video games, but the US is the only one that has this monstrous spike of gun deaths as a country. That I will freely admit I have not looked it up, but I would be willing to bet that if you adjusted that search filter a little bit, that some of that would probably level out. More specifically, if you pull out the piece of that filter that says deaths by or homicides by gun violence to just homicide, I bet you that graph levels out quite a bit. I'd be willing to take a shot in the dark.
Well, I think they were just trying to make the connection of video games and guns.
Right, of course they are, but that's the thing.
Trying to make that connection.
You need to take a broader look at, like, if you're trying to make that connection, you've got to connect it with something more than just guns. You've got to make the connection of video games incite violence.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of a stretch, because even looking at that, like if you look at video games, it's a lot of that profit don't come from just M-rated games. A lot of it just comes from different rating of games. We talked earlier about indie games. Look how much profit comes from that. Really? And the same thing with gun purchases. not every gun purchase that is there is going to be at a gun store. If you factor in secondhand sales, if you factor in even like
Black market.
sales at black market, or even like going to a gun convention and being able to buy a gun right there, you can also factor in the profit that comes from there. So I think it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like you said there, you have to look more into it.
The big tweak here is that you're comparing the states against countries that have, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
The gun regulation,
like full-on gun bans.
I think the gun regulation in those countries are different than America. So
drastically.
You know, and
that's
I think
the thing that they're trying to drive up, and you know, to push the concept that we need to have the same, you know, gun regulation and laws as they do. But again, when you take the filter of gun violence out and just look at violence or violent crimes or homicide, I'd be willing to bet you that suddenly looks a lot more level. Because, you know, again, when you take away somebody's access to firearms and they have an intention to cause harm, guess what? The lack of a gun is not going to stop somebody. They're going to pick a different way to do it.
They just feel like, well, this is the thing with gun control, and I can't say this. Watch the Daily Show about it. Some of Trevor Noah's like between the scenes and stuff. He's been speaking about this.
I saw his thing that went up today, and I've got some mixed feelings on. I
mean, but I think he has two. I think he has 2 or 3 of them. And I kind of like how he talks about, you know, trying. That's one thing that people can do. It's just like try, and it feels like they don't want to try. That's one thing. Another one I will say, and I was watching this today, there was a town hall in 2017 with Obama. And regardless of what you say or feel about that, he kind of mentioned something really that I didn't know. That they were just like, Congress won't let the disease center control, they won't let them do any kind of gun research, like on gun deaths and stuff. Won't let them do it at all and stuff. So they can't get better data on how to handle it. Everybody thinks that if there's gun control, that they're trying to take their guns. And Obama was just like, in all the time that I've been in office, I never tried to do that. And it's a CNN town hall. You guys could look it up on YouTube. I think it's like 5 minutes and stuff. And it's kind of good that, you know, he stood up there and said it, because the messaging was getting mixed. And I think this is kind of the same thing a little bit with this, is that the messaging is getting mixed. That yes, it's still a scapegoat. Video games and mass shootings are completely different. I have always said, why is it when it's a mass shooting with someone's young, it's video games? But if we look at the guy who shot all the people in Las Vegas, not one mention of video games got in. So it's kind of like,
there's a generational piece in there that seems to keep getting missed too, and not being talked about. And props
age.
On you for calling that out. Actually, that's
and it's in the way that guns are being sold today. If you look at video games, everything is rated. You have to be a certain age. Stores have taken their own policy that you have to show a driver's license or some kind of ID showing that you're 17 or older to even get an M-rated game. You could be 15 or 16 years old and go into a gun store and literally buy a gun. I don't know how you acquire all that money to do it, but you can. I have never seen a gamer play any kind of video game and the gun that's in that game has expired. It has inspired them to go to a gun store and buy a gun that's similar to that, to go out and kill people. I've never seen that.
Yeah, and I hate to, you're missing a component there. I mean, to purchase a firearm, one, the cost is, we'll call it prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
One, which you touched on, but two, the age issue. Double check that, because I mean, like I said, you've gone with me. You know, we've talked.
Yeah, we saw.
And I'll throw you some stuff later to check out. But you know, you could go to purchase, but the odds that you are going, unless you already own and you are already tracked, background checked everything.
Yeah.
The odds that you walk into a gun shop and walk out with a firearm right then and there, not particularly high, because again, there are steps, backgrounds, everything else to be run first that all have to come back clear before they will sell to you and hand it over.
But is there an age prohibited? I don't know if Indiana or Missouri, Kathleen, like if you go to a gun shop, you have to be a certain age to buy one.
Usually it's the adults buying if they're buying for their children.
Right.
So
I do. I'm not going to open my mouth and say with a 100% certainty that there is, but I'm looking.
Because I think that's one thing that doesn't get kind of talked about. Like, we always talk about that person may have gone to a gun store and buy it, and we don't fully know their age or anything when they do it. Some of the other guns that I guess that a lot of youths have done, it sounds like there was a gun in
there's
the
a
house.
minimum age of 18, and there's actually there's two, and this is federal, so this is
Right.
across the board. And this is going to sound a little peculiar for you, but shotguns, rifles, and ammo 4 can be sold to 18 and above. However, beyond that, so if you're looking for like a sidearm, like a pistol, Eddie, has to be 21 and up.
yeah, and that's the same with Missouri. Because Missouri actually has no minimum age law on the books, though. So the state law doesn't have an age. But,
right,
federal
which
law
doesn't necessarily need to, unless they want to go more restrictive than what federal already lays out.
Yeah.
So AK-47s is under 18, or
it would be 18. It falls under the category of a rifle.
okay.
Yeah.
It is a rifle.
Okay.
And more specifically, you're purchasing an actual AK-47 is not inherently the easiest thing to come across. More specifically, what you're likely going to find is going to be, there's what's called a civilian version. It's a little toned back, and it has essentially the kind of the stylistic look of an AK, but there's some functional differences. And it's honestly, the civilian is kind of a military look version of a hunting rifle.
Is it kind of the ones that, when you see in pictures, everybody's doing the open carry, they got it like hanging in the back? Is it kind of like that kind of style in a sense?
Kind of. Next time you're here, remind me. We'll see about taking a trip across the street to my folks. I have actually had the personal enjoyment of getting to spend some time at the range with the civilian version of the AK-47. My father owns one.
Okay.
So we'll talk and see if he's willing to get it out of storage that you could actually like take a look at it. But I can tell you from personal experience, You know, having gotten to take it out to the range and spend some time with it, you know, I don't know. I can fathom what a lot of people that have never, you know, used one or fired one or handled one have in their head. But the reality is probably drastically different from what a lot of these people have in their head. Because it's not one of those pull the trigger and just, you know, a spray of hail of gunfire and death. It's like, it's like when, you know, you and I went out and, you know, we were just pistol shooting.
Yeah.
You know, you pull the trigger once, there's one round through the chamber. That's it. It's, you know, so I mean, that it's not some sort of, you know, machine gun where you're just, that's not the reality of it. It's just not, you know, I mean, a fully automatic weapon, yeah, no. Not even remotely close,
Right.
You know, and the only thing that I would say really that something like that has over, you know, like a pistol is that honestly, it's great if you're, you know, in it for the sport, and you know the whole precision target shooting is your thing, because it's plain and simple. It's easier to handle in terms of like kickback and recoil. I mean, you know, you put a round through that, and don't get me wrong. I mean, the whole thing looks way more severe than when you realize if you just take the slug off, the part that actually fires, you're like, really? That's the, you're like, yeah, huh? But you know, like I said, the recoil, it's very minimal. It's just kind of like a, you know, as opposed to like when, you know, you and I went out and you got to use my my Springfield, you could definitely feel like the jerk back on that. That made it hard to hold your spot.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and so you don't get that with the, you know, with the rifle, but that's not something that's specific to even that. It's just, it's a fundamental difference between like long barrels and rifles and pistols.
And that's,
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I think, like Donald Trump and a lot of politicians don't get, that you can't make that correlation and similarity with a video game and an actual gun. Like, I don't know, they probably still investigating it, but why haven't a lot of politicians investigated the shooter to see if he has a history of being at a gun range and training? You know, go ahead, Kathleen.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no. I was just going to say that.
The thing is, and the reason why this gets brought up, everybody's trying to find the one thing that they can solve to end this violence, and that's the big thing, and that's why everybody, I think video games are easy, because it's an easy thing to take away, as opposed to, well, we didn't do enough mental health awareness. The gun laws would be very difficult to make changes. They know that they got the lobbyists with the NRA, with gun owners. They know that would be a difficult change. What is easy? Let's attack video games. We can control the output of video games, and that's why I think it's constantly brought up, is because they want a simple solution that will say, we'll never have another shooting again in our entire history of existence. And unfortunately, video games are seen as that because of the ease of it, the easy access, the fact that everybody has it. So they just, that's why I think it's always brought up, because it's just it's something that can be easily regulated. The problem is that we're never going to be able to fully ever stop these shootings. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. These acts of violence are never going to be fully be stopped. I don't think there's really any one solution, because you can, even though we look at what the history of the past histories of shooters, people are going to find different ways. They're not going to be as obvious. There might be a few similarities, but you never know what's really going on in the minds of somebody else. We can speculate, unless we go into something like Minority Report style. Mm-hmm. And even that had flaws. If we look at that movie was even flawed. We're never going to fully be able to stop it, but that's just the mindset. Everybody wants to find that one thing to blame, and video games are just the easiest because it's the easiest solution. and the easiest thing that you can control.
And it's good that you mentioned that. And actually, like me and Neri was talking about this when I went to the gun range with them, talking about how technology and guns, like if the trigger don't match your fingerprint or something, you can't shoot it.
Mm-hmm. There's ways to make the ability for guns to not fire. And I'm not a big gun person. I grew up being taught to be afraid of guns. There were no guns in my house. Now my grandpa had hunting rifles, which were in the kids' playroom. I mean, seriously, we had the ammunition, we had the hunting rifles. I could have easily just, hey.
I'm sorry for laughing.
Laugh because I use this as an example where people say having guns in the house around kids. You gotta, there's more to it. It's like I said, I had easy access. I could have stood. I used to look at them. I mean, I used to look at the ammunition. They were right there. So I never thought to take it down and start, hey, bang, bang, bang. We had our toy guns if we wanted to play with those. And we knew that those, we were taught, and this is where I'm a big proponent of teach your kids about weapons and make them understand what they can do. I knew that messing around with those could hurt somebody or potentially cause somebody to die.
Yes.
And I knew that from an very early age. But anyhow, that's getting off the subject. But, where was I going with this? I don't even remember now. Now I got you threw me there, Eddie.
But I like the fact that you said educating your kids about guns. And
now I lost my train of thought, Eddie. I'm sorry. What was I going with this? I don't even remember. I'm sorry. I lost my thought.
Well, I can say me playing Wolfenstein 2. I'm enjoying what that game is. The story, the narrative, the gunplay, how it controls when I'm hitting the button, if there's lag, or how many times I die and come back. I think a lot of politicians who try to use video games as a scapegoat, they think that's gonna, like you said, Kathleen, they think that's gonna solve the problem, but right. It's not. Politicians can't choose what a scapegoat they're going to use to explain everything. First of all, if any shooting is happening or anything, and when it's over, first of all, let people mourn. Let the police do their investigation and everything. Not everybody needs to jump up and have something to say and get their 15 minutes of fame. Let them folks mourn, and then when it's time for us to speak about the topic, let's have a discussion. Like the story said, Trump had called the video game people in 2018 to have a meeting. They came. What was the result of it? What did he learn?
The thing is, we live in a society where we live in the court of public opinion. Mm-hmm. We're seeing it with the Me Too movement. We're seeing it with the feminist movement. We're seeing it this is our day and age, is that we judge before we get all the facts. Now, it's not everybody. And I think I'd say the majority of Americans are like us. We have the discussions, we look at all the facts before we make our judgment. But unfortunately, the people who have the say and the people who have the voices they're not doing that because they know what happens. They get dragged through the mud. If they don't respond fast enough, they get dragged through the mud if they respond too quickly enough. There's no right or wrong answer.
I was gonna say, who dictates, who says, when it's okay to start having that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it's too fast for people to say anything when there's just not enough evidence, when people don't have time to mourn, when people don't have time to grieve, trying to find out what's going on, trying to get all the facts. You happening on a news program to speak whatever you want, to speak your opinion and your viewpoint, that to me personally is too quick. Let everything come out first before you say anything, because my thing is, what are you trying to achieve by speaking on it? because you'll speak on it. You'll
trying to
look
keep their
good,
jobs.
and
I mean,
one of
people have lost their jobs for not speaking out quick enough. People are losing their their lifestyles because they are not speaking out quickly enough, or they spoke out too quickly, or they said the wrong things. I mean, look at how many. I mean, again, this isn't just this is just one aspect, but this is just our society now. You don't speak out. I mean, heck, I was on Twitter there was some things going on Twitter about a different subject, and people were saying, if you don't talk out about this, and if you're not like this, then you're a horrible person. And it's like, wait a minute, just because it was like people were just really being extreme. You had the extreme sides of both.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem, is that if you don't say anything, you could be potentially, or if you do say something, hell, I mean, us having this topic, I could potentially lose a job because of my opinions on this topic by just this podcast. I mean, it's just, that's the way we are.
And
as a society, sorry.
Yes, and that's why I feel like this is going to be a more educational discussion because, like, there's a lot of stuff that people, they listen, they see something, they respond to it and don't listen. And when you don't listen, you just only respond to it, you're not gaining anything. A, you're not having a fair discussion.
No,
B, you're doing it to make yourself look good. But I'm just like, you're being unfair by not listening to other people, not taking into what they say and having it in consideration. If these politicians want to blame video games, you have every right to blame video games. But for me as a gamer, my thing is, I want to see what research are you going to be doing about video games.
Right.
Are you going to get your hands on a video game? Are you going to be looking at different ratings, looking at different systems, how parental control works? Because the information has been there, but you never paid attention to video games because that's not part of your livelihood. And that's not...
And it wasn't a problem. And it isn't a problem until something bad happens.
Right.
And we gotta also remember, this is an election. We're coming up on an election, so this is what.
Yes.
This is probably another reason why we're seeing a lot of this with the election coming up next year. Yeah, next year's election. Everybody is fighting. I mean, we're gonna see a lot of politicians weighing in because we're already getting ready for the Democratic primaries, the Republican primaries. With everything going on, we are seeing. I think that's another reason why this probably got brought up again, is because, Trump's trying to show that he's being progressive, that he's doing something to get ahead of the Democrats who would have came. If he hadn't said it, the Democrats would have probably come after him and said, you didn't.
You're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So
and,
this is just...
and it's weird because he made the statement about video games, and then, hey, you already got the city wrong. Toledo? Really? Mm-hmm. You got the city wrong. I was listening to a podcast called Pod Save America. They were just like, the pictures of him is with him shaking hands. Like, there's no pictures of him with the victims or him like really saying something compassionate or everything. He got out and started attacking people. And it's just like, what are you doing? And I think that's why there's a hashtag called "That's My President." It was Obama who made a written speech and stuff. And like, whatever you think about that, I'm just like, he came out and he said something very compassionate, and we're just like, we all need to unite.
Yeah.
And that's what a leader or some kind of big figure should have said. Not blaming video games, not trying to get into a gun control debate, not doing none of that. Show some compassion and try to reassure America or reassure the world about something. Just show some compassion about yourself.
But I guarantee if he hadn't started looking for something to blame, they would have been all over him for not looking. If he come out with the compassion, he would have been run through the ringers for not trying to crack down. And again, it's a damned if, like Larry said, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and that's the thing. But bringing video games into this is just ridiculous because, again, we brought this. This is why I hate this topic, because it's just time and time again. How many people play video games? All video games have some violence. I'm sorry, Super Mario Brothers. You're stomping on turtles. You're crushing turtles. You're, you're destroying. I mean, I'm sorry. You're taking a fireball and like killing innocent things that are just coming at you. You don't know what they're gonna do. They aren't menacing, but with the.
It's the same song and dance.
It is. It's just, again, trying to find that simple solution instead of looking at everything collaboratively to be able to, because it's just easier to think of the one problem, the one cause, and that's what everybody wants, is that one thing that they can magically say, if we solve this one issue, this will never happen again. And unfortunately, that's not the case, as we've seen from time and time again with these terrible incidences, that there's just so much more. The thing that I worry about is, though, people are going back and looking at all their, well, they were like this, they were like that. That could cause a lot of issues for a lot of people, too. Yeah. There's no, that's getting into a whole other topic that I won't go into, but, it's so hard to find that solution. And video games are a great scapegoat because of the nature.
I can't say this one. There's no way to blame video games for this one. The El Paso shooter, even I think he said it. That the immigrant invasion, and he said this stuff. I think on Reddit. Right, he said this stuff, so he already gave a reason on why he did it. What part of video games is that? I don't think
video games inspired because there's games that have shooting where you go around shooting multiple people, like in Resident Evil.
And it's funny. And
the theory of desensitization, again, I will stipulate my use of the word the theory of.
Yeah.
Well,
theory is the functional word there.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they searched that person's house and found a video game console in games. Like, did they? Has that report or anything come out?
I think they're making an assumption based on ages. That's the other thing. Like going back to what you said, there wasn't, with the Las Vegas shooter, there wasn't that connection. There's that ageism that is out there.
Right. There's a generational piece there.
Yeah, where if you're a certain age, you couldn't have been influenced by the video games, which, look at how many adult gamers there are. To say that your age determines whether or not video games influenced you. Again, video games don't influence, but I'm just saying you can't bring in, again, why wasn't the video games brought in at that point? Because he was older?
And it feels that, I think, and this may just be me, and this is more of my assumption, I think one of the things that came out of all of this is that they're now considering this as domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
And they're considering this as white domestic terrorism. No offense to anybody, but it's been seen that if someone of a minority was doing it, they were a terrorist, and they were condemned as a terrorist. But if a white person did a shooting like this, they have all of these reasons, and they wouldn't call them a terrorist. But this time, they are literally considered, or they literally claim it that to be. So maybe there'll probably be conversations about that. They might feel offensive, but in a couple of shootings that has happened, I think I'm not considering the Pulse shooting. I don't think that was I don't know, was he mixed or white for the Pulse shooting?
For which one?
The Pulse, the one that shut up the gay club.
I don't remember.
I think he was. I think it was Mexican or Hispanic. I'm sorry, everybody. Not like I said, not trying to offend. I have to actually look that up. But like some of the white people who shut up a mosque or shooting up the Aurora Theater with the Joker and stuff, like all of that stuff that when white people do a shooting, they didn't call it terrorism, and it was a terrorist act, and it don't matter who got hit. Race doesn't matter in a mass shooting. For this particular one, yeah, it kind of did matter, but different races that gonna be hit by a gun. A lot of that stuff don't matter to the shooter. They want to carry out that shooter want to carry out their agenda, and they going to do the best that they can do what they can. So it is sad to say that, but I'm just like, it's a fact. Like, you see a lot of white people, white males, sorry, no offense, you see a lot of white males who commit a lot of mass murders, a lot of mass shootings. And so when you see a game like Hatred, you see why people are upset, because people feel like we are already dealing with this kind of idea in the real world. Why would you want to make a game out of it and say that you want to do something to make a conversation? We don't need a game like Hatred to make a conversation, but we already got stuff in the real world to deal with that, to have that conversation.
Well, and like you said, there are pieces that get selectively talked about, and then I almost let the words "and then shot down" come out of my mouth, but I caught myself on that because I was not aiming for the pun. God damn it! That was not intentional in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Just my general vernacular.
We know. It's all right.
Anyways, I feel like every time I turn around, I'm about to say it's gonna go fucking tits up on this one. But
you gave warning. Yeah, fair
Yes,
warning.
you did.
It's not just that, but I mean, at this point, just puns are so genetically ingrained that if even as I try and avoid it, it's just gonna fall out apparently. But anyways, there's just there's pieces that get selectively brought up and talked about depending on each one that crops up, and some of the other things just on this subject that don't sit with me is that one side, this is kind of where I talked a little bit about earlier. It's like, Kathy and I particularly, we kind of have our toes in, two different ponds at the same time here, is that you've got one side pointing the finger again going, well, video games cause violence, and then you've got the other side of the fence that normally is real fast on the ball to discredit anything that comes out of the other side's mouth. And this one, they generally seem to just kind of not comment on. Mm-hmm. Like, the only group that pushes back on it is the gaming community.
Yeah.
You've got right side going, video games bad, video games make bang bang violence, and left side just goes,
okay.
And lets that one. It's like I'm trying to wrap my head around that one. That perturbs me a little bit. And then additionally, I'm going to keep rolling this train on you for a minute here, Eddie. Mm-hmm. And when you visit, maybe if you're lucky, I'll roll another train on you. But in any
Wow.
I mean, I know it's my birthday, but still.
We should
But anyways, as somebody in the camp of viewpoints and opinions that I am, and I won't speak for Kathy or Eddie, but as somebody in the camp of opinions and views that I have, hold, and carry, also being in the gaming community or the gamer community, and it's a weird fine line to walk. I mean, hell, Lord knows you see enough of it, not even necessarily about this subject, but just across political party lines, because you've got a few high profile folks in the industry that don't tout the official community party line, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that I could be wrong, but the general perception is, I feel like that's about spot on, is that, if you roll up as a gamer, the automatic assumption is that you fall into this camp, no ifs, ands, buts, exceptions. And so for those of us that do, it's kind of a weird place to be.
Well, it feels like, okay, so is politics just trying to get parents to stop buying M-rated games? Because in all honesty, even if that did happen, there are a lot of people who meet the age requirement who have their own job and finances to go still buy these games and make them big, huge hits and not be able to commit a crime. So what are you expecting for this to happen? Like,
if you really want to get down to brass tacks on it, ideally they would probably like to see video games, violent video games specifically, but I'm sure they wouldn't be horrifically abject if they managed to get video games altogether to go away.
But that's going to be the problem, that they don't.
I didn't say it's not going to be.
I mean, the thing about it is that you're not going to have this kind of big thing go away because it's making companies who are,
of course it's not going to go away, just like guns aren't going to go away. That's
but a lot of states who have a video game developer or publisher in them give enough of those people jobs for them to come in. And if you think that if a company as big as Nintendo, let's just use that for example, sorry everybody, a company big as Nintendo or even Microsoft, if they would leave a state that was making them some money and a big percentage of revenue and income for that state was gone, what would happen then? Because if you literally want video games to be gone and everything, guess what? There's gonna be a lot of repercussions that's going to happen. Trust me, a lot of people who are of the age are able to vote, and you made a video game company leave, you, like you said, Kathleen, they're doing it for that job. They're not gonna have that job.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, yeah, you're not going to eradicate this, and like I said, it's the same thing on the other side, to those on the other side of the fence and in the gaming community screaming, blame the guns too. You're not going to get rid of those either. So, y'all are going to need to actually figure it out. And that's another component of this, is that so many people want to jump to we're going to blame video games and you're going to blame guns, and neither of you are really right here. So somewhere along the line, maybe if you two put your fucking heads together and share the load, you might actually get down to a root solution.
Yeah.
And I think they've been trying to do that. And a lot of people just like, we know it's not video games. A lot of parents said, we know it's not video games. But we have, or some of the people have elected you to do a job. This is a big issue. Why are you not trying to work on this issue? Because
it's only an issue when it happens, and then other things come up, and then we forget. That's the problem with our society, is we do not follow through. We say we're going to, but then the other thing, and something else will come up, and the focus will shift to that other thing, and the focus on this will go away until the next incident. That's why we keep seeing this repeat of behavior, because nobody is actually, they say they're going to, but they don't follow through.
And that's why a lot of people are upset that this little thoughts and prayers thing is not needed. Thoughts and prayers don't solve anything. If we have elected you, and if you're a person or elective who has spoken on this kind of issue, and you said that you're going to work on it or do your best to work on it, you need to do something, because once no work goes on it and people find out, they're not going to vote you in. I think that's why in 2020 voting is going to be a big thing. That's why people are trying to get registered and everything. And sorry if this sounds like I'm promoting or anything, but I'm like, this is very important for
There's
next
nothing
year.
wrong with promoting going and registering and voting.
No.
Right, because I'm
No
like,
matter
please.
which side of the fence you fall on, you got a voice, go fucking use it.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
and because like I mentioned, gun control, a lot of people are not trying to take guns. They just want they want equal regulation like people got for their cars, for cigarettes, for the way that different chemicals are handled, even in stores and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that some laws and policies that have to be followed, and everybody just want that same thing to be applied to guns. Nothing about taking away. Yes, AK-47s being banned, a lot of people feel like that needs to happen because there's no need in this society for people to have that kind of gun. They understand if you have a handgun, that's completely fine. The handguns is not going to solve the problem of doing a mass shooting. That's still going to happen, but at least something as extreme as an AK-47 won't be, I guess, a problem in a sense. I was trying to word it and I kind of lost track of.
There's no need for anybody to have a mansion either, but you're not going to see somebody ban it.
Right. But if people got the money to, or people know how to build a mansion or an architect, hey, go ahead and build an architect, and build your own. Or better yet, take something broke down and build upon that. Just Home Depot. Like I said, if you got the money, that's fine. I think a lot of people just feel like there are some guns that are not necessary to be used in everyday life.
But they're not used in everyday life.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the other thing.
It's again, the.
I'm not walking around. I don't see many gun owners walking around with AK-47s going. Those are not the ones that they are carrying on a day-to-day basis. I mean, God, that would be freaking awkward.
Right. And the thing I didn't find funny, that everybody was just like, well, you was in El Paso's a state that had open carry. Why didn't nobody shoot him or anything? Who knows?
You're
can't
assuming that anybody there was carrying.
Yeah, not everybody.
You have the right to exercise that freedom, but again, it's your choice to, or not.
And as somebody who worked in a law enforcement position and carried for her job and was expected to make that shot, I can tell you, Eddie, and to anybody else who has that thought, it is not that easy to just pull out a gun and shoot someone. That is probably my biggest thing when people, go about, especially law enforcement officers, to make that decision. You're weighing all the options, and you have to make that decision within seconds, and
a split second.
Not even. I mean, you really have to be willing to take someone's life, and not everybody, even though they carry the guns, they're not willing and ready to make that call when they find themselves in that situation. You can say all you want ahead of time. I will do it. I will take my gun out. Boom. I'm never letting that happen. But until you actually have that moment, you don't know what you're going to do. And that's why it is so distressing to see people get so much on these law enforcement officials who have to make those decisions, because it is not easy. I know that. Was I willing to do it? I could say that all the time, but I never got put into that situation. Who knows how I really would have reacted? So it's you can't just say because you carry it, you are actually going to use it.
Right, and that's why I felt like, that's not, it shouldn't be used as a joke. It shouldn't be used as a logical reason. I'm like, there's a lot of various factors.
I don't think it was meant as a joke. I think it was just,
Well,
it goes back to, it is one of those things that people always do bring up as an argument for, or for the gun laws. Okay, everybody had one. Why didn't anybody stop it?
Yeah. And I think they was just making a joke because it's Texas, and Wild West cowboys and all of that craziness. But I'm just like, who knows what was going on in the moment of that story?
And you don't want to shoot a bystander.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you may have had people carry, but it doesn't mean that somebody could have safely taken the shot. It's a very situational, and
plus you got to have the safety on. So,
well, again, consider here's the other thing, Eddie. Like, I know it's been a hot minute, but take mine for example. Mine has a safety. However, the moment it's in my hand, like picked up, and that safety is now I've essentially disengaged the safety, because if you recall, the safety is not a toggle on the side. Mine sets so when your hand is pressed against the back of the grip, that hand press there is what's disengaging the safety, so you can then pull the trigger.
And see, in my case with the Glock that I had, the safety was you had to actually have your finger all the way on the trigger, because there were actually two triggers. One,
right, it's a double trigger.
Double trigger. So if you pulled it from the side, unless you had your finger actually on the trigger, you wouldn't be able to fire. And you actually had to, so that was how, so just sitting in my holster, you wouldn't be able to fire it. Hell, I could throw it on the ground and it wouldn't go off.
But it's in that safety mode.
It's in safety mode until I put my finger
you pull it out.
in.
Okay.
Well, no, until I put my finger in the trigger. Even me holding it with my finger on the side, it's still not going to go off until I put my finger in that trigger. That's when that's when the safety goes off.
The safety goes off. Okay.
That's the other piece that mine has as well. So you actually have to, hand grip to the back and then pull trigger to pull that safety from both directions, essentially. So much like Kathy, if mine was to fall off the table, hit the ground, it's not going off.
Yeah.
I can pull mine out of a holster, and even though I'm disengaging the safety on the back of the hand grip, there's still the trigger safety as well. And so you have to have both of those simultaneously in order to
use it,
fire off a round. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm just meaning that the safety is like actually on when it's in the holster. When you're open carry, you gotta have it.
There are some where there is an actual switch on the side that's safety on, safety off.
Yeah. So there's all different types of guns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. That's the thing. You got so much variety in the different types of firearms.
And I'm for people owning a gun if they're responsible, if their mental health is good, because I think, like you said, I feel like mental health does play a part in this, and everybody's having those talks and stuff about mental health and people having guns and everything.
The problem is it's very easy to hide your mental health. It is also very easy. It's also very possible that you could have had no indications of any mental health, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna go out and commit this horrible act. That's the problem. I mean, how many times have we seen? In fact, wasn't it just in Aurora, Illinois?
Yeah,
we had the
Joker
the worker who went in and shot up his worksaid. They said we didn't see anything coming. I'm talking about the employee. I forget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
It took out the HR director and the assistant and everything. They all said, we had no clue this was coming. There was no indication. So that's what makes this so difficult in trying to curb a lot of this violence, is because we just don't know. We can't really, I mean, you can get some ideas, but it's going to be very hard to come up with a great solution. We can come up with good ones, just not, we're never going to fully eradicate it. So I think that's the problem. I mean, hell, I was watching something where people were saying we should put guards everywhere.
I seen that.
I'm like, wait a minute, that's going into a military state. I mean,
and who got all the money to be paid them?
Yeah.
And who's not to say that one of them won't go off the rails? And then that person knows the entire... I mean, that's the other thing, too, that saves a lot of... Again, going back on my experiences, knowing the layout of buildings, knowing how the easiest access, how to get to places to stop the shooting. If that person is the shooter, holy moly, it just makes it even worse for that situation. It makes it could lead to potential more lives lost. So it's just like, damn, people...
Was it the Columbine guard or was it Florida's guard? One of them who knew the shooter and who had a gun was afraid to go into the school.
That was in Florida. That was
in the Florida one.
That was the Florida one. But then again, it goes back, like I said, you don't know how you're going to react till faced to that situation. That guy may have been able to say, I'm going to go in, no problem, but then he got scared. It's a human reaction. And I'm not saying he was right. That was his job. He should have gone in there. But that's, that... And I wish he had.
It's a lot of the in the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can, again, Monday morning quarterback all the or Tuesday morning. It should be Tuesday morning because we got Monday Night Football. But
so, I know I've mentioned it before when this subject has come up, the once or twice previously that we've covered in the last 3.5 years, but I will reference again and recommend take the opportunity. It's up on Amazon Prime Video. There's an old episode of Penn and Teller's Bullshit that if you have not watched, you should. Don't get me wrong, you should honestly watch the whole show because that whole series is fucking phenomenal. But as it pertains to tonight's subject matter, that episode is one that you should watch. Other than that, I don't want to have this get too long in the tooth here this evening, and we are definitely running deep tonight. I think here's.
And Larry, before everybody goes, I know me and Larry mentioned, I did come down and I did shoot a gun with Larry, and I talked to the gun and was educated.
The shop owner,
yeah, and it was good to hear his side and just have this open discussion, not getting mad but getting educated. And like
that's
watching
a
the
big missing component. Get educated.
Yeah,
just case in point. You and I, you just mentioned earlier. It's like you can be 15 and go. It's like no, that's not how that works.
And I could admit, and the reason why I use that age because, or example, or probably I just said it, is because that's some of the reasoning that people has been saying, that a kid has gone to a gun store and brought it. It feels like they went to a gun store.
Missing a component there.
But,
right,
and they haven't. I mean, that's just it. People make that assumption, but if you look at it, no, that's not what happened. But anyhow,
But I mean, taking that, reality takes the wind out of somebody's sails on that argument all of a sudden.
And I think the ease of access, they haven't explained the process on how to get a gun.
Yeah,
like
you got one side screaming, it's like, well, it's so easy. It's like, have you gone and bought one? Really?
I think it's easier for kids to get them because the parents can go through all that to get it and give it, and then they just give it to them. And I think that's where the misconceptions come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also easy to, I think there's a little bit easier, at least here in Missouri, transferring over the gun ownership is a little bit easier than actually going and making the purchase. in some cases, because you're not necessarily having to do all the background checks, especially if you're passing it from a family member to another.
Right.
So I think that's where some of that confusion gets.
Right.
So, but yeah, Eddie, I was the same way. I never shot a gun until our department went armed. Now, when I started as a public safety officer, we weren't armed, and then with all the school shootings that were happening at the colleges and universities, it was decided we would. And I'll tell you, I almost quit because of it, because I really was not a fan. But I did shoot it. It still scares the hell out of me. But like you, I educated myself on it, and I can appreciate the gun owners. Now, will I have one in my house? No. But that's out of respect for other people.
Same here. Same here.
You know, but for somebody who has them, I mean, I do love looking at them. I love the mechanics of them. It's amazing the power that they have. But, you know, it is something that I think we forget to educate, is that those guns are not just sitting there ready to go off. There is a person behind all these shootings, and that's the thing we need to remember, is the person behind it, not the actual weapon. And I think that's where the point gets missed so often.
Preach, Kathy! You better preach, girl! Preach, guys! You better preach!
I'm off my soapbox. Thanks, Eddie. Now I feel like a total dumbass for saying something.
No, because you're speaking. You and Larry are speaking, and it's just, you know, there's a lot of factors to it, and I think just this episode, having this discussion and come from all three of us and probably other people who podcast, I think we have came with something to educate people, to be like, look, go out and learn things. Don't just look at somebody, take their word on TV, and just be like, that's the end all be all.
Yeah, and the same goes for our bullshit. Fucking fact check us.
Yeah.
Do your homework.
Mm-hmm. I could be wrong.
I will never intentionally falsify information or mislead anybody, but the simple fact of the matter is sometimes an honest mistake happens.
Yes.
Yep.
Do your fucking homework.
Yes. Do your own research.
You are the only one that can be held fucking accountable for your knowledge.
And understand too, looking at other sides, looking at everything does not mean that you believe that other side. It's just a chance to understand what the other side's argument is, so that you can be better knowledgeable in the whole situation and why people feel the way they do. That's all it is. It's understanding. It's not changing your view.
Yes.
It's just understanding.
All right, Larry, it's back into your hands. You want to go close the show? We could close this.
Yeah, let's wrap this bitch up. As always, thank you to my stellar partners, and no, we're not going with that one tonight. Never mind.
I just like that I'm stellar. You know,
yes.
like, ooh, yay.
I told you, every fucking time, it's like genetically ingrained. I'm just gonna trip over this shit tonight.
Your stellar gaming partners. Your stellar partners in the gaming industry world of streaming and podcasting.
In any case, thank you to both Eddie and Kathy this evening. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. I know we picked up a couple of new followers on Twitch this evening. Thank you to you fine folks for jumping in to chat with us as well. Again, you know, we are the best video game podcast that nobody listens to, but you guys could, you know, help change that. All you got to do is, you know, tie your friend to a chair and stick some headphones on them so that way they can't escape it. And
no, Larry, no.
Which reminds me, big news, we are working closely with the government, specifically Guantanamo Bay, to license our recordings for methods of torture to replace waterboarding as a more humane substitute.
Oh my God, Larry, stop it! Have a little bit more self-respect.
And we will see everybody on World 101 Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.